to the Savage Factor podcast number 6.
Is it number 6 already?
Well, yes, good buddy. It is. Time flies. Time flies.
Here we are for another one.
Oh.
So, one of the things that we think we want to talk about tonight is...
We don't think, we know. We're doers. We know we want to talk about.
This is true, we're doers. So we're going to talk about prioritizing. And I think it's something that we both probably, we have struggled with. Maybe still actively struggle with a little bit. And knowing what you want, but prioritizing the work to give you the best result for what you want.
Yes. Let me first share something I just got back from. So, we're both big proponents. You surround yourself with people that elevate you, and you want to be the dumbest person in the room, and all that. So
I'll go back to my cliche of you can't soar with the eagles if you're surrounded by turkeys.
Yeah, right, that's a good one. That's a great one. Anyways, so I just got back.
I'm sorry, folks.
So I just got back from a big mastermind event with the GoBundance community. Every year they do a entrepreneurial summit out in Austin. And it was pretty amazing. We had a lot of great speakers.
Would you say it was wicked?
It was wicked. And come to find out, people from Maine are arguably the only ones that say wicked.
No way.
Yeah.
That's pretty wicked.
Yeah. We're known for wicked, moose, and lobsters. So,
not 3 things not bad to be known for.
No, it was good. It was wicked good. So, but yeah, so being out there, I don't know, there were probably 100, 150 like-minded individuals. Some people worth $20, $30 million. There was even a billionaire out there. So it just puts into perspective. I was one of the smaller fish in the room. So I was very much going out there to absorb as much as I could, to network, throw out ideas, feed off the energy, everything in between. And needless to say, it was pretty amazing. Got to meet some great people. Brandon Turner from used to be on Bigger Pockets, but now I'm doing some pretty amazing things. And other than him, got to meet. So funny story. I just missed him, but Eddie Pinero, I told you about.
Oh, yes.
I've listened to him for years, long before I knew even what doing the hard thing was, long before I was an entrepreneur. He was, kind of one of the original amazing speakers on YouTube before, everyone else flooded it. But he was at the event. I just missed him, but I was able to get a pretty cool video from him after the fact. So, if you haven't heard of him, check out Eddie Pinero, Your World Within on YouTube. I think you'd really love the message, and I've sent you some stuff. But so got back Wednesday and just ready to go. Got a bunch of clarity on what we're trying to do here. Some tactical stuff on how we're posting or not posting, and ways to put ourselves out there. That's put that out there for all the viewers to hear. We really need to get our story and be willing to share the nitty gritty and the struggles and be vulnerable on what we've worked through. So I'm excited to dig into that because I think it's just going to allow the space for you guys to really interact and share.
I think it's going to make it very much more relatable.
Yeah, exactly.
Relatable to the folks.
Because believe it or not, we're not, stallions and all figured out.
Well, I like to think of myself as a stallion a little bit, but no. And I guess, coming back and I joked around with you, but you came back and I think one of my first questions, you going to the gym tonight? And you were like, nope, but next week I gotta sit down, I gotta prioritize. Because it's one of those things where not very often we don't go to the gym at the same time, just for scheduling and just the way that his life is and my life is. But it goes back to the piece that we talked about in a couple of podcasts ago about surrounding yourself with like-minded people that hold you accountable. And, at the end of the day, I got nothing to gain if he goes to the gym or doesn't go to the gym, but I want the best for him. And then, there's times where if I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to go, he's like, well, I mean, you got 45 minutes to get there, you should go to the gym. So one of the first questions I asked Nick was like, all right, you've been away, back in January when we started going back to the gym, or I started going back and Nick started going to the gym, was that the whole thing was because we felt like last year after some of our runs, we did a lot of running, but the big thing in the ultra world is being able to run on tired legs or having strong legs so when you get tired, you can push through. And when we did some self-evaluation after last year, it was like, well, what was the piece? Well, we ran, and we ran often. Like, I think we had set out last year, and basically January 1st of 2024 said every other day, 30 minutes, at least. And it started with at least, and it could be more, but then the more that we did this, I mean, people are going out there, they're running 20 miles a day, they're running 100-mile weeks. So that just isn't going to cut it when you get to the ultra. Like, when we got to 75 miles in, every other day, 30 minutes isn't going to cut it. So, coming back to going to the gym, I checked in with Nick. I said, what's you going to the gym this week? And then he picked up and told me basically one of the things that he picked up on when he was down there in Austin was prioritizing. And it's so easy, I think we both have found that it's so easy to sit there and say, like, you look at some of these people that we ran with or we follow now, and you're like, how do these people do it? How do they work? How do they get to the gym?
Their
How do they get their runs in?
Jiu-jitsu.
Right. But, and to Nick's point, so yes, his son started doing jiu-jitsu in the afternoon, so going to the gym in the afternoon is out. But that doesn't mean he can't go to the gym. That just means instead of making it up on the fly, what did you come back from Austin? Basically, you said, I need to sit down, I need to make a schedule. I gotta basically tell myself that I'm dropping my daughter off and I'm going to the gym for 9. Like, no questions asked. It's gotta be like, that's the time I can go. Or,
well, to give myself credit, there's 2 gyms we're talking about. There's the group sessions, which are the best. That's where I want to be. But timing wise, I have been going to Planet Fitness.
Right, and that part, not to discredit that you haven't been going to the gym, but I think we both know when you go to Planet Fitness, you get in a workout. There's no doubt about it. You're not pushing yourself as hard as you would, and there's nobody there to say, "Wow, I should go up 5 pounds. I should go up 10 pounds on this next rep." So, and that was the whole reason you started going to the gym we went to, was because you wanted that accountability.
Yeah, I needed that push.
That extra, right? Because obviously, and it's like anything, we can all tell ourselves, and that kind of goes to another point we can talk about, but we tell ourselves, like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. But then, if you're at Planet Fitness and you're working out alone, you got your headphones in, nobody's around, and you're like, I'm going to do 12 reps. You get to 10 and it's hard, I'm going to stop at 10. As opposed to being at the gym and you're like, the board says I got to do 12. I got to do 12 reps. I can't cut myself short. So one of the things we were talking about was making sure that we prioritize for the results that we want. And I guess, like, my question to Nick is, we look at the clock right now, we're 2 weeks away from the Pineland 30 hour.
From the what? What is this you talk about?
The Pineland 30 hour.
Oh, the 30-hour trail race. Yes.
How are we feeling? We feeling like we're ready? Are we prepared? Have we prioritized to be prepared?
My wife asked me that too, and a couple other people. And my response has been, I feel less physically ready, but way more mentally ready.
Okay.
So
maybe by next year we'll put the physically and mentally together.
Well, hopefully that ends up meshing
later on this year
in the summer, over the course of the summer. So we got a couple weeks. I think maybe we'll finally get some good weather next week, and I am a fair weather runner. I'll be the
He very much is.
person that says
It
that.
can't be too hot, and it can't be too cold, and it cannot rain. I texted him today asking what would he do. Actually, shout out to the main Viking who right now is doing Riverlands. Is it Riverlands 100?
Yeah, he's soaked.
Yes. So he started off that race this morning at 6 a.m. and it was pouring rain. So I joked because I sent a message to Nick, how do you like to be running in this weather? Knowing I knew damn well he doesn't like running in this weather. And his response back to me was, if this keeps up, I might actually have to. Of which I wanted to respond back, so you're going out today to do a warm-up, like a test run?
Oh, I more or
Running
less
in the
meant if this weather pattern keeps up at the 30 hour,
Right.
we'll find out.
Right. Well, then I wanted to ask you, but I didn't. I left it at that. But I wanted to say, so basically you're lacing up your shoes today and you're going to go for a little run in the pouring rain to get yourself
If your theory of running in the rain makes you used to running in the rain, I'm going to call BS on that. I would run. If it's game time, we've done it. Like I can show up and run in the rain.
Yeah.
I don't.
Question to you. Do you feel like now we talk about doing the hard thing prepares you for the hard thing. Now you don't think willingly embracing the suck of running in the rain would make it so that when you don't have the choice to run in the rain, it wouldn't make it any easier? Because I think it would. I think if you decided that every time it rained, you were going to put on your shoes and you were going to run with soggy, wet feet.
You're painting a very bad picture of me. I'm just kidding. No, it probably would. It would.
Because it is the hard thing.
Yeah.
It's the thing you don't want to do. I will say, though,
right.
This morning, we had rain Wednesday of last week, but it was like 68 degrees, almost 70 degrees. That kind of running in the rain, not all that bad. It wasn't cold rain. This morning,
It's like 45.
it was cold rain. Less than enjoyable.
If it were something like, I will admit, I don't. So I bought the cold plunge. That's freaking cold. Like, I wouldn't have that hard of a time going out and running a race in the rain. Like, if it was running in the cold, I would say yes. I need to run in the cold.
Oh, right. Like when we were talking about like the Frozen Yeti race or something like that, you'd have to do way more of that to prepare your body.
To me, running in the rain would check off that I'm disciplined enough to
do it.
Like, if my schedule was run every other day and it just
today's my run day,
then yes, then I would be running in the rain.
Right. Today's my long run day. It's raining.
Right.
I gotta run.
Let's do it.
Right.
But I don't. For me personally, I don't think by running in the rain multiple times to anticipate the feeling of running in the rain at an event doesn't do anything for me.
Right. So how are we feeling? Like, you feeling like
I'm excited.
If your answer was to most people that you physically don't feel like you're as prepared.
Right. I'm gonna hit it hard the next 2 weeks. I know a lot of people say that's about when you.
I would say you should be tapering.
You taper it back. But I'm excited. I will hit the 100 mile. That's the goal. 30 hours, 100 mile.
I'm I'm actually struggling emotionally with the fact that
you can cross the finish line with me.
No, it has nothing to do with that. It really has to do with taking for granted. If it's one thing that my injury has brought to light for me, and maybe that could be why, like right now, mentally, like when I talk about prioritizing, I would say I've had a mind shift as of lately to be way more diligent about prioritizing my workout and making sure that I'm in good shape, because the injury has made it so that it really showed me how vulnerable, all it takes is to not be able to do it. And then, your health and your fitness is everything. And when it unwillingly goes away, it's a real mental struggle. Yeah.
So I'll turn these tables right on to you, Bob.
Bring it on.
because that's a pretty universal message. You know, we take stuff for granted. When something happens, it's like, oh, yeah, I miss running, and now you're like, I'm gonna run. I want to be the best me. I want to
Yeah.
night.
Oh yeah.
Have you applied that anywhere else? Anticipating like, oh, yeah, it would be easy to lose whatever.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's. I made a mind shift in my brain of when I knew that I couldn't run, and I knew that I couldn't necessarily have the cardio ready for. And as I sit here in front of you, I mean, I signed up for our local, big local 10K, which is Beach to Beacon. I was already hurt and in the progression of healing, and just signed up last month for that. So my mindset is to be ready. I can't be ready for the cardio currently as far as running, but I can walk on the treadmill, I can ride the bike, I can go to the gym, I can squat, I can lift, I can have strong legs, and I told you coming here tonight that what's funny is I feel like I've prioritized strength because that's what I can do right now. And going back to what we talked about as far as prioritizing, my life is going to get more complicated when I can run again. Because right now it's like I put in a strong work day, I make sure I go to the gym in time in the afternoon, come home, hang out with my wife and kids. Well, all of a sudden, when I'm cleared to start running again, it's a juggling act of fitting all of those things. And we go back to running, like we said. I think for me, I've realized I got to up the mileage each week, as far as not so much coming off from injury, but like you see these people out doing these ultras, they're running on a normal week, 60, 80, miles, and so 3 miles isn't going to cut it for a run. Runs are going to have to start being 9 miles. Like, we're not talking fast, but they're going to have to be like, those are your runs. Like, I went out today, I ran 8 miles, and it's not like, whew, I ran 8 miles. It's like, that's just the norm. And that is time. That is time that you are pulling away from something else. We talk about, and I made an Instagram post about, and what really struck me, what got me to make my post was I was listening to Cam Hanes, who he just finished the Cocodona 250, but he's had a broken foot, and favoring that broken foot resulted in some leg pains, so he couldn't run. But in his preparation for training for Cocodona, he said, what is an ultra? It's time on feet. So I can't run, but I can walk. He was doing 100-mile walks.
Was he?
100 miles a week walking. So he would joke about how, like a normal run that he would do, a 15, 20-mile run to prep, well, that's not a ton of time if you're going at a pretty good run. Well, now all of a sudden to do a 20-mile walk, that takes a lot of time. You're chewing through a lot of time to do that. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is, like, just like you said, it's time on feet. So now all of a sudden we go back to prioritizing. Well, we're both self-employed. We both got 2 kids, wives that don't, they don't quit just so we can go. You can't just say, "Oh, pause." Remember what was it, Saved by the Bell? Time out, and everything would freeze. Like, there is none of that in life. There's none of that. It's somehow you need to figure out. And I was saying to you, like, when I'm cleared to run, it might be 8 o'clock at night. I'm throwing on a headlamp and going for a run at night, because that's when the time is going to allow.
Yeah.
So, going back to, like you said about, prioritizing, is everybody can sit there and make 1,000 reasons as to why they can't get it in, and, oh, it just didn't work out today. But we talked about it, like, it doesn't work out if you're like, where am I going to squeeze it in today?
Yeah, we all got the same amount of hours. We all
24
there
hours
are
in a
people
day.
way busier than us that are getting their crap done. But I have a hobby. No, I'm just kidding. that is an actual excuse for a lot, but we just started.
But it's not an excuse.
No, I know.
You find the time.
So, yeah, no, I'm showing up in 2 weeks. You're gonna be there.
Oh, most definitely.
You're gonna be housekeeping, getting snacks ready, pushing the brand. Hopefully, you're out walking a lap or two. We'll see. We'll see.
My whole thing is sad as it will be to not be. I 2 weeks ago I would have told you I'm gonna walk to the very end.
Well, do you want to tell people what
Oh, basically, yeah. So, you guys will see. Basically, I posted on Instagram that I felt great. I'm saying it was a beautiful day. My healing has been going tremendously well. I was 1 day shy of 16 weeks,
so
and I decided that I was going to go for a nice walk. So, what's better than walking? Rucking. So I threw on a 20-pound weight vest and was doing good, felt great. I got to like 2 miles out, which would be 2 miles back, which would be 4 miles, and I'm like, I think I can go 2.5 out. 2.5 out, 2.5 back. I'll go 5 miles. I'm going easy. And I did that, and one of the hardest things about this injury is your mind can say you can do it, and my legs felt great. I got done that walk, and my ankle was really mad at me. I basically flared up all the tendons, all the ligaments. The nerves were all ticked at me, and it took me probably a week and a half to get back to like feeling good.
You were nervous too.
And
he called me.
Oh, I was very nervous.
What did I do? I ripped it. I ruptured it.
I knew I hadn't ruptured it. But one of the things was like with nerve pain, I had pain shooting up my leg, and a lot of people, like my wife included, like I would say like I say, oh God, that doesn't feel right, and you're fine. But until you've literally had the ability to walk taken from you, like it's a real, pardon my French, but it's a real mindfuck, man. It really like it.
I don't think it was French.
When you finally get over, when it first happened, it was like, what the heck did I, I didn't do anything crazy. Like, if I told Nick I jumped off the roof and broke my leg, he'd be like, well, you're an idiot. Don't jump off the roof. Like, I didn't do anything insane.
Well, you're a middle-aged man playing basketball. Like,
you just say that because you don't like basketball.
No, anyone I talked to was like,
not good.
If you're over 30, you shouldn't be playing basketball with other grown men.
Yeah. Well, my days of playing basketball with grown men are done.
Well,
because I want to be able to run. But basically, I had to sit down after that, and because my whole motivation or the motivation I put out to myself is I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be ready by the end of May. And I really, was feeling great, but this was a reality check that I can feel great. My leg is not going to be ready to walk 100 miles in 30 hours. Or even if I didn't hit 100 miles, I cannot walk 30 hours nonstop and not, like, it wrecks a good body, let alone a compromised one. And I have so many things that I want to do this year, and they all fall another month and a half, 2 months from now, which I'm going to be able to start running in the next couple of weeks at jog. I'm going to be able to start putting miles under my feet and building that up to the point where it's not going to be a shock to my system. So, unfortunately, I haven't made the final decision that I'm not going to participate in any way, shape, or form. and I probably won't make that decision until the morning of, because some part of me still wants to get out there and walk the course.
Like I said, I don't think you pull out. You keep your bib.
Oh yeah,
And
we're gonna see what happens, and we're gonna just, like I said, it's if I do anything, I'll have to really just keep in mind to go easy. But basically, I'm gonna be there. I signed up to be there. I'm going to be there, and whether it's I'm crewing Nick or I'm walking around, and we talked about it in a couple podcasts ago. Is the culture is what I need. I need to get back around those people. I need to, even if it's I'm just walking in, I'm checking in. Like we've met a lot of people. There's a lot of people we're gonna know that are gonna be there, and checking in with crews or seeing what's going on with some of the people we know. Just being there and being around that environment is going to be a good mental boost for me. And obviously, I want to be there when Nick crosses the finish line and puts down, hopefully, I would say 30 hours. You should be a little over 100, but we'll see what you do.
Well, going off of last year, 75 at 24, it'll be close.
Yeah, and I think, obviously, when you say that you're going into it more mentally prepared, I think obviously that comes off of how much we learned last year of like, there's no doubt looking back, we went out way too fast.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and therefore the pace slowed way up towards the end, where if we had kept a steadier pace in the beginning, but I'm excited to see what you can do, because really we've talked about it. We kind of got into these endeavors together, and there was a couple of times during like Back Cove where we weren't together, or
that's going to be the biggest thing.
There were some times where we ran last year that you may have bowed out before me, so I had a little bit of that time without you. But realistically, last year, if you were running, I was there.
Yeah, that's either going to help me. I know there's only two options, but help me,
right? Or
it's going to be way worse. And it's not just going to be a little worse. It's either going to be horribly worse,
right,
or going to be a lot better. My plan is just to bring multiple headphones.
Yep.
Get some podcasts.
Yep. Well, we've said that, what was funny is obviously everybody's mindset's different. Everybody's, what you feed off of is different. Like there were parts last year that you might have taken off when the 100K runners came by, but you didn't because I was there. And, now maybe that pushes you too hard, or maybe that's just what you need. And it'll be exciting to see that. It'll be exciting to see, what you do with that. And like you said, not knocking what happened last year, but obviously, for me, I got a glimpse of that a couple of races where, not so much like when we did the 24-hour race. I mean, I did one lap without you, but like when we were doing Back Cove, I think I ended up, it was 3 or 4 hours, 3 hours, maybe 3 laps that I did without you. And, so I kind of know what that looks like for me, and it'll be exciting to see what that looks like for you is, as to, you might come back and be like, we can't run together ever again.
Yeah.
Like, my strength is without you.
I didn't even think of that.
My strength is without you. Which, inevitably, I think the exciting part was we started these ultras together because we both, I'd say we were both kind of hooked with it. When we saw the concept and, we went back to, like when we first told you guys about it, is like, love being outdoors and the environment. And, there's going to be times where Nick runs a race, I don't run a race, or I crew him, or he comes and crews me. Because I think as we ramp up, a lot of these races outside of the state, they're a lottery. Like, it would probably be very rare that we would both get in. And
well, I also think too, like we want to be faces at these events. We want to be faces of motivation and encouragement. I think there are some that maybe just one of us runs and the other one's just
there,
being a face for the brand and networking. And
absolutely, and not only that, and showing that obviously, we talk about. We can kind of lean on each other, but there's a lot of people out there that don't have anybody, and we want to show them that
We met some of them.
This is an individual event. You can do, you can push yourself as hard as you want, or not. And like I said, we look back to you look back to I got a lot of respect for the individual that shows up. There was a young lady we met at the 24-hour who she didn't know how far she was going to go, but she literally was committed to, I'm going to go as far as I can, and I'll sleep in my car. And she had no crew. There was, she came down from, maybe a couple hours away, and she didn't have nobody else there. And, that to me is admirable. I just showing up, I'm going to do my thing. And
hopefully she'll be back. It'd be nice to see what she's done over the last year.
Oh, absolutely.
She did we think of the same one, she did the Maine Marathon also?
I don't know if she did the Maine Marathon. Okay. That was the one that, and again, there is times that, so last year, Nick and I, what did we say? The Maine Marathon was pretty much the last. We did not do the Maine Marathons. By that time, we had already done 4 ultras, and our wives both did the Maine Marathon. And there is something to be said, and it's funny because going into it, it's like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to go. I'll cheer you on, see the environment, and then you get there.
It's so I was at that event, and how many people were like, "Oh, you run ultras," and they're like, "How many marathons have you done?" And I'm like,
"None."
Well, technically, never done a marathon. Have no desire.
Well, actually, I've done 4.
Well, I don't look at
I've crossed the marathon distance.
I still don't have any desire to do a pavement style
like a road marathon.
Doesn't do anything for me.
I'm not ruling it out for me as far as there may come a time in my life where putting down a fast marathon.
Maybe that's what it is, because when you do that, that seems to be the top tier in terms of you're going for time.
Yeah, and I think that's
why
for me. I think it would have to be I'm going to try. I've gotten to a good spot speed wise. I'm going for a fast PR. And I've said to you, again, kind of drawn to some of the environment. I've always thought, maybe doing the Boston Marathon would be really cool. Not so much because I definitely don't think running on the pavement for 26.2 miles sounds like a lot of fun. But I think the environment of basically the streets are just lined with people for a big marathon like that. I've seen the videos that Nick Bear puts out for the Austin, Texas Marathon. That's some of those I think would be fun, but I think it would be one of those things that I'd check off my box and say I did it. And what I like about the ultras that we do is realistically, it's a race, but we could be doing the same thing. You're out in nature. It could be you and me taking a weekend and going up to the White Mountains, and we're gonna hike as many 4,000 footers as we can. That, it's just that kind of thing. Obviously, some of the ultras, they're actually, races. But going back to what I was saying about the Maine Marathon was, and to your point of, being the face of the brand or being able to just kind of take in the experience is, I don't know about you, but for me, it was pretty fun to go to the Maine Marathon, and we had, our wives running, and we could cheer them on and watch other people come across. And, if you had told me that morning, hey, we got a spot, you want to run it? I'd be like, nah, I'm good. Now, if you had let me watch 3 people cross the finish line and then said, hey, we got a bib, you want to get a late start? I don't know, it'd be enticing, because once you get there and you see these people come across, or, you see the people come around the corner, they see the finish line, they light up, and, they boogie to the finish. That to me is the, that's the drive. I can feel what those people are feeling watching them. You know what I mean? When you see them come across,
it's infectious.
You can just feel it. You remember, oh, I know they're hurting.
Oh, you can see the hurt, but you can also see that they're super excited. you can see the finish line and you can feel it, but you're not quite there yet. And even you can be so close to it, and you're like, I can't go anymore. Like, so there's so many emotions that go through your head when you're getting ready to cross, and God, I just want to do it again.
One thing, real quick, kind of off topic a little bit, but you brought it up when you basically said that you can see it and you say to yourself, I can't. What was it? Probably a month ago now that we were at the gym, and it was bench press day, or bench press was one of the activities, and you had said, like, I was doing one. You remember this when you were doing the one set, and then you're like, you literally, like, the last rep for that one, you like shaking, could barely get it up, and then you're like, I couldn't, I don't, like, in talking to you after, you're like, I couldn't get another one up, and then it was a 45-second pause before the next one, and you did it. It's stronger than you finished the last set.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's right. That's what
I shut my eyes.
Exactly.
I don't remember what I was thinking about in our kids or something, or the race, whatever it was. But that's what I'm talking about.
Right. That's the mindset of you. You could have told yourself that I can't do it.
Yeah.
But realistically, you were able to do it the whole time. You didn't give in to the I can't. Because if you'd given into it, you probably wouldn't have got those reps up. And that's to me, it's inside of everybody. Like when you say I can't, and we go back to the last one where I said I thought you had an awesome mindset to people of replace I can't with I can or I will, and when you did that, it was like I literally watched you, and it was like it's inside of him the whole time, and it's inside of all of us.
Oh, yeah.
Like I struggle to get it. Yeah, there's more in you though. There's more there. You got to dig deeper.
That's the journey.
You got to chisel it away.
That's you don't get clarity on that in our case without getting, having to not be able to walk upstairs for 3 or 4 days. Like,
yep.
That's what we've had to do to get that clarity. I wouldn't trade it for a minute. I am excited to not be able to walk up the stairs again,
right?
Because I know what's going to come with that and what I had to do to earn. That's the price of admission.
But realistically, and then I'll spin that back to. I think the more, and I'll spin it back before we finish up.
Don't spin it too many times.
Well, no, I'm gonna spin it back to the beginning when we talked about preparedness. Now, you love that exhausted feeling, but the more prepared we can be, maybe you're exhausted, but you still walk up the stairs without a whole lot of trouble the next time. So my challenge to you and to anybody else out there is, if you know what you want, prioritize the work and make yourself as prepared as you can be. Because you owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself that whether it's a CrossFit tournament, whether it's a marathon, a 5K, a 10K, a push-up contest, like you owe it to yourself to whatever you're going to do, put the time in, prioritize your work, and be as prepared as you possibly can. Set yourself up for success. What do you think?
I think on that note,
call it a night.
Call it a night, and we'll start putting the word out. Reach out to us if you got a story. Let us help you digest it and tell you how amazing it is. Because I think a lot of us oftentimes downplay what our stories are, thinking it's not going to help anybody. It's super unique to me or you, and so if you think that's you, it doesn't even have to be fitness.
Oh yeah,
running aside, whatever your journey's been,
we'd love to hear it. We'd love to have you. Send us a DM, send us a Instagram message or whatever, and share that with us. And depending on what it is, we'd love to have you on. And the whole goal for this is to have some guests to share those type of things. And if it's working through Maybe it's working. Maybe it's not even a. Maybe you haven't gotten there yet. You know, maybe you heard the I can and I will,
like that.
and the yet. You haven't done it yet, but you're struggling, but you want to. Well, come on and share that with us. You know, sit down. We'll have a little podcast and we'll hash it out. So on that note,
Good
we're
night,
signing off. Have a good night.